This video is to help you with the first Friday math assignment, which is to help you practice linear relations because it's really important that you learn linear and that you're really able to do this because we're not done with linear. And believe me, you're going to spend a ton of time on linear and it's going to get a lot harder next year. So it's really important that you get this. This video is not meant for you to copy the worksheet to get it done. That's not the point. The point is you should do the worksheet on your own as much as you can, and for most of you, with the exception of Colton, you should be able to do the whole thing by yourself. And then I want you to go back and I want you to check and make sure that things are correct. Now, if your answers are correct, then no problem. You're done. If your answers are not correct, don't just change your answers. Make sure that you get what you're doing wrong and take a moment to think about it so that you won't continue making the same mistake time after time after time, because this is like the 5th time that you've seen a worksheet that looks exactly like 4 other worksheets that we've done, and so you really need to start figuring out what's going on and doing some memorization and really getting this down now. So if you haven't done the sheet, turn off the video. Do not copy, because if you do that, you're going to be doing Friday homework from now until the end of the year. If you make yourself learn this now, your first chance that you can actually take another assessment with Mrs. Steffen at school is Monday the 9th. And wouldn't it be great if on Monday the 9th you came in the morning or at lunch and took another assessment, got 100% on it, and showed me, hey, I don't need to do Friday homework. Wouldn't that be great? You can do this. So do your own work. Okay, I'm now assuming that you did your own work, and let's check it really fast. First of all, everyone should have put carrots on their table. Okay, you should never have a table when you're dealing with a linear situation where you don't put these carrots on, because these carrots are how you find change in x and change in y. So get them on there if you didn't put them on there. And don't forget again, you know this, we've done it 100 times now. We find slope, m, by doing change in y by change in x. Well, all my change in y's are 1.5, and all my change in x's are 1. So every time I do that division problem, I'm going to be doing 1.5 divided by 1, and that's 1.5. The way we write linear equations is y equals mx plus b. This number goes right here in the equation. That's my slope, my constant rate of change, my m. Okay? So the next thing it says to do is to graph my data. So I 0 to 1 here on the x-axis, 0 to 1, and notice it's labeled. It needs to be minutes. No fair not labeling. Okay, you know this now. Okay, here I numbered by 2s. I really should have numbered by 1s because I had plenty of space. So I think that's kind of a mistake on my part. I should have made 1, 2, 3 instead of 2, 4, 6. But anyway, and then now I'm starting to put points on. Over 0, up 4. Over 0, up 4. Over 1, up 5.5. Over 2, up 7, over 3, up 8.5, over 4, up 10, over 5, up 11.5, over 6, up 13, and I have my points on here. Okay, a label on here and a label on here. No excuses for not doing that anymore. Now, I have everything I need in order to write the equation. The table shows me what the b is, and using the carrots, I found my m. So I've got both the m and the b. So now this next question says, write an equation that shows the relationship between the minutes, which is your x, and the number of hot dogs, which is your y. If you were to write this equation as y equals 1.5x plus 4, you would only be partly correct. because they're asking you, instead of using X, to use M. So right here, I have to have a M, see? Right here, M. And hot dogs is here, so that should be H instead of Y, H. So I have to pay attention to the variables that they give me in the problem, and I have to make sure I know that minutes is on the X and hot dogs is on the Y. So when I write X and Y, I have to replace them with these letters. Okay? Now it says, what is the slope? The slope is the number that's right in front of the variable. So it's this 1.5. Now it says, what does the slope mean in terms of the size of the Slim Jim collections? That is not the correct question. It should have said, what does the slope mean in terms of the size of, and then maybe not the size, but the number of hot dogs eaten. So I'm going to write that in, number of HD eaten. Okay, well, every 1 minute that goes by, you're eating 1.5 hot dogs. So for every 1 minute, you're eating 1.5 hot dogs. You need to have something in there that says for every one. You can reword it if you want. You can say that Landon eats 1.5 hot dogs every 1 minute. You can reverse it. But the every one is an important piece that needs to be in here if you want to get this question correct on your linear assessment. What is the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is always this. So it's 4. It's always where x is 0. On your graph, it's right here. It's always the point that crosses the y-axis. So it's 4. And what does it mean in terms of, it's not Slim Jims, it's hot dogs. Cross that out. It means that he ate 4 hot dogs before the contest. And it says in the story above, he did that to stretch his stomach. So before there were ever any minutes going on in the contest, he ate 4 just to try and stretch his stomach. All right. Now it's asking you to use the equation. So can't use the graph, you have to use the equation to find some answers to questions. This first question is saying, how many hot dogs? So I don't know how many hot dogs, which means H is going to be blank. This is going to be an H. Will end up eaten in 10 minutes. Well, minutes is what goes next to the variable. It was 1.5 per minute. So the 10 goes right here in the minute spot. Okay, now I multiply 1.5 times 10. 1.5 times 10 is 15. And then I'm still adding 4. Okay, so I have that plus 4. And so now we have 15, which was 1.5 times 10, plus 4 equals 19 hot dogs he would have eaten in 10 minutes. The next question says, use your equation to show how many minutes it would take him to eat 49 hot dogs. Well, this time I know how many hot dogs there are, so I put the 49 in the H spot. I don't know what the M is, so I put an M in the M spot to represent that's what I'm trying to find. Okay, so now this is a simple equation to solve, 2 steps. Okay, subtract 4 on both sides. You're trying to get the M by itself. 49 take away 4 is 45. 1.5m plus 4 minus 4 is 1.5m. This is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. Divide on both sides, and m equals 30. And now I'm done. Now, just because you did your homework perfectly is not enough to end Friday homework assignments. To end Friday homework assignments, starting Monday, you have to either come in before school or come in at lunch, and you have to take an assessment with me in which you get a perfect score before I'm going to believe that you've got this down pat. All right, have a great rest of the weekend, and I will see you on Monday.